Good evening, Internet. Good evening, Internet. It's Eric Arnold here once again, here in my barn. We talk about college basketball here. That's why I call it my sports barn. I guess in a month or two we'll talk about baseball. Then it'll be the baseball barn. We go over our picks here on American college basketball. Lately, they've been awful. We're barely above 500. I'm not sure why you'd want to come here and see these picks, other than you watching, an enterprising handicapper trying to learn, trying to teach himself the art of handicapping, and maybe learn through my mistakes. That might be one reason you might be here. I don't know why else you'd be here. Anyway, I don't have a lot to say tonight. That probably means I'll just talk in a stream of consciousness circle about whatever words or anything that comes to mind. We had what did we have? 6 games. We had 6 games tonight. Broke even. 3 wins, 3 losses. Really, this is the first time in probably a week and a half that we've actually not lost. So, I don't know if we should be popping open the champagne bottles or not. St. Louis, pretty much easily the best over George Mason. I felt good about that game. So, again, these are small victories where if I see a game and I feel good about it and it wins, it makes me feel better that I might know what I'm doing. Texas A&M felt bad about this game. And lo and behold, they just went ahead and won the game outright. I watched a little bit of this game. I fell asleep watching it. That's the problem with making these videos. And you're up till, all hours of the weird day, night. I mean, can't remember the last time I had 8 hours of sleep straight. It's all just, 3-hour chunk here, 3-hour chunk over there. Anyway, fell asleep in my chair, woke up, and my team, the Texas A&M, was shooting 4 free throws with nobody on the line. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? I had to rewind the thing. I often watch a game without the sound on, just because I just do. It helps me work on other games while that game is on, and if the sound's on, it's just too distracting. So sometimes I have to put the sound on and figure out what the hell happened, and I guess apparently 2 consecutive technicals, one on Bruce Pearl and the other on Bruce Pearl's son, who's an assistant coach on the team. So that was helpful for Texas A&M. That helped them get the W. Manhattan, this was a pick by the model, which has been just complete shit, and I'm just about now shut it off altogether. They were within a point at halftime, and then Ryder, they just showed they were much the best in the second half, pulled away. Easy winner for Ryder. We were in it for a minute, but they just not, I don't know. If I actually knew anything about those 2 teams, I'd probably be able to give you a reason what happened there. Fairfield, same thing, never in it, model pick, blowout, loss. UTEP, the model gave us this one and it was a winner. They snuck in there, snuck past Middle Tennessee State. They were ahead the whole game and managed to get there. And then this last game, I mean, come on now, there is been some bad luck in this stretch of shittiness. It's been some bad handicapping, the model set up incorrectly, but there has been some bad luck, and this was one of them. This was just bad luck. I mean, Northwestern should have covered this game. They were, up like just down 10. We're getting 13 and a half, and, then they just inexplicably started fouling these guys, just giving them free points at the line. And then finally, they just could not make a basket rather than just going for a high percentage 2-point shot. We're trying to get fouled. They're cranking desperate, helpless, meaningless threes. I mean, they're down 10, 11 points. It's over. Forget it. but they just kept cranking the meaningless open threes, couldn't get any of them to go down. Then Wisconsin gets the ball, and they're up 13. We're winning, 13 and a half. We're winning, and Rudy's in the game. They had put some walk-on guy who never plays, and apparently this is the last home game. So there's 20 seconds left, and this is the point where normally the team ahead just holds the ball because they don't want to rub it in. They just hold the ball and the game's over. But not this time because Rudy's in the game. So at Northwestern, I was under the impression that people who went to Northwestern were smart. Watching this, I'm not 100% sure that's true because it was obvious what Wisconsin's doing. They're, the guard, he's looking for Rudy. He throws it over there to Rudy. Rudy's got it. Now Rudy's trying to do something with it. Rudy throws a perfect pass to this kid who's wide open for a three, and the kid just whips it right back to Rudy. So obviously they want Rudy to shoot. Well, fuck Wisconsin, Northwestern, just triple team Rudy. But they didn't, of course. They just kind of did some half-ass defense like, oh, we want to see Rudy make us our bitch too. And of course he drives in for a layup, and that's the final. 63-48, 2 points for Rudy, we lose. Thanks, Northwestern. So, oh well, I guess I saw a story, I think on ESPN's website. Some kid from New York, I think he's 23 years old. The feds, I assume the FBI, arrested this guy because he was making open threats to college and professional athletes about gambling. I mean, I think he was doing basically two things. That if he would lose a bet, I don't know the kid's first name, I didn't read it that closely. His name, he calls himself Parlay Pats. That's his last name, P-A-T-Z. So Pats would send these Instagram messages to athletes, maybe after a big loss or something, and he would threaten to kill them and kill their wives, their dogs, their families. Or then I think he would also pick out a team that he's playing against prior to the game and send threatening messages to the team that he's playing against. I guess in his work mind, thinking he's going to get an edge somehow because he's threatening David Price or Justin Verlander. What a piece of shit. I mean, kid, I don't know if you're evil or you're just young and stupid, but you're probably evil. You're giving us all a bad name, man. There's a lot of us here that like to bet on sports, and really it's through the grace of God and Chris Christie, and not necessarily in that order, that sports is legal now to bet on here in the United States. And it's not legal everywhere. We're still trying to get a lot of these backward states, these recalcitrant backward states to legalize this. And a lot of them haven't done it yet. And you pull shit like this, it just makes it harder. It just makes it harder for everybody. So I really hope the FBI puts this guy in jail. I mean, I realize that the chances of him seeing the inside of a jail cell are not good. Yeah, he'll probably get probation. He'll probably just parlay that get it, parlay, see what I did there? He'll probably just parlay the ESPN article into some kind of notoriety. He'll probably have his own goddamn reality show or something, even though he shouldn't. So I saw that, and that stuff annoys me. So that's my rant on that kid. So we're not going to go all Parlay Pats on Northwestern. They're just, that's a losing team at the end of a losing year, and it's almost spring semester there in Chicago, so whatever smart kids in Chicago do in the springtime, I guess that's what they're thinking about. What's next? I guess we'll give you the new business. I don't have much else to say. I find myself distracted while I'm handicapping by the virus news. I can't help myself. I like flip over to zero hedge, which is a mistake because that's like ground zero for the world is ending fear porn. So I go there to try to get the latest news, just trying to educate. Well, basically what I'm trying to do is figure out whether the stock market's going to go to zero or not. I've already sold all my stocks, so right now I'm just trying to get. Well, am I stupid? Have I done wrong here? Am I a fool? I'm the guy that panicked. I panicked. Oh, better get back into the market. So I'm trying to figure that out. I guess I probably spend more time doing that than I do trying to figure out whether fucking Ryder is going to wipe out Manhattan or not. So maybe that's adversely affecting my handicapping. But let's talk some more college basketball here. I learned I keep saying this is a learning experience for me. I learned something else now. I free-formed some handicapping picks for tomorrow, and I feel pretty good about them, believe it or not. And I just started at the top as far as, what games are going to be played first. And I'm doing this before any kind of numbers come out on these games, before any kind of gambling rotation is released. And so I'm picking, the playoff games. The conference tournaments are having their playoffs, if you will. All these minor leagues, if you didn't know this already, all the minor leagues, all the mid-majors, they have a tournament at the end of the season. I think they all do now, with the exception of the Ivy League, I believe, just takes the top two teams. Forever, the Ivy League had no tournament. And then I think they finally then decided the top two teams would play in a playoff game. The Ivy League was the only one that did it, as far as I can recall, that the regular season champion, they were your big dance invitee. All these other conferences, and I don't know when they started doing this, frankly. It'd be something interesting to look up, I guess, just to know. But, in other words, like the Patriot League. You play the whole damn season, you play each other, you come to the end of the season, you've got this great record, and you're the number one team in the conference, you win the conference championship, and now you got to play this tournament, this one loss and you're out tournament, and you got to win it to get to the big dance. So your whole season basically comes down to 3-4 games. So now that's what we're into in all these little mid-major conferences, which, that's what we've been playing all year because of my stupid goddamn model. So yeah, I kind of want to, follow through on some of these. I know a little bit about these games, these teams. So I handicap a couple of Big South games, and they're not even on the board right now. So I'm confused by that. I'm like, are you kidding me? Did I just waste a couple hours of my life handicapping games that are going to have no lines? So here's Winthrop, Gardner-Webb. Both of these games are playoff games in the Big South being held in Radford, Virginia, which apparently Radford's the #1 seed. So I guess that's how the Big South does it. They send you to Radford, you play your playoff games in Radford, and then Radford is the home team who, if they win through, the game, the championship game goes on their home court. So these two games, Winthrop is playing USC Upstate, Gardner-Webb is playing North Carolina Asheville. Here's the thinking, and these numbers are Pomeroy numbers. This is my best guesses of what the number's going to be off of Pomeroy's point spread, Pomeroy's final score, if you will. Winthrop, we just played them against USC Upstate, and it was a bad loss. It was a game Winthrop. We had Winthrop. They should have covered easily. They didn't. I looked at that game a little more carefully today, and it was just incredibly bad luck. It was Winthrop's best player did not play. He probably is going to play tomorrow. They blew some free throws down the stretch. They should have covered. So I think that there's hidden value there with Winthrop. In other words, they lost by 8 points did not lose, won by 8 points. The spread was 9. They won by 8 points at USC Upstate. I think they're easily 12 to 15 points better than USC Upstate. And I think they're going to handle those guys. That's the reasoning. Gardner-Webb, we like this team. We've done okay with these guys all year. NC Asheville is not a terrible team. I think what happened with that team, they were pretty good there for a while, and then the coach left. He packed up and went up, and I can't quite remember where he went. He went up the level, disappeared. He had mostly seniors. He had a real good team. When he left, everybody graduated. Whoever was left transferred. They had a player there, and I'm like, that name looks familiar. I can't place it. I looked it up. Maceo Teague. You heard of him? He's a star now on Baylor. Well, he transferred 2 years ago from Asheville. He was like, well, I'm the last man standing here, and we're going to be terrible next year, so I'll just sit out of here and go to somebody half decent. And that's what he did. So Asheville, basically, their whole program started over from scratch 2 years ago. So the team's still not very good. So the coach they have is okay. He's doing his best, but he's new. This is only his second year. We said before, we think Webb is a program that's slowly building, slowly on the rise. This is a long-winded way of saying we think they're going to cover the 5 tomorrow. Again, no line at the moment, so, we may have just wasted our damn time. And then this game, no line on this game. Another playoff game in the horizon. Illinois, Chicago, they blew out whoever the hell they were playing, UPI. That Indiana University of Purdue University in Indianapolis, something like that. I don't know what I can think of the letters, and I don't know what they stand for. IUPUI. I don't know what they stand for. Anyway, they blew them out by 30, 40 points. I'm figuring, and that was on their home floor. They're put on their home floor again. I think they're just going to come right back again and hammer Youngstown State. Youngstown State almost lost to one of our model teams. So just the fact that game was even close, considering how shitty our model is, tells me Youngstown State probably isn't that good. So we think the Illinois Chicago is just going to come right back and hammer those guys. That we like that, if they put a number on it. Okay, now here are two that actually do have numbers on it. UNLV is one of our favorites. We've done okay with them. We like the coach. We think that's a team that's building towards something. That's a team that has no reason to be anything but something good. If that guy can start attracting stars out there, old school like Tarkanian used to, man, they could really get that back the way they used to be. So I'm really rooting for them because it was fun when UNLV was good. They're playing Boise State as part of the Mountain West tournament. They just played these guys. In the same place. This is a home game. They play that tournament at Las Vegas, at the Shark Tank, and Thomas Mack Arena. UNLV beat those guys by 10. I don't think it was that close. No, they were up 20 at one point. I'm pretty sure about that. And we think UNLV is just much the best right now. We like the coach. We don't like the Boise coach, not nearly as much. We're only laying 2.5. The game's at home. We like UNLV here. So, this is, they could reasonably get into the NIT, I think, but they got to keep winning. Who knows? I mean, this is the team right now that just came off the win against San Diego State at San Diego State. So, You know, if I'm that Coach Otzelberger, I'm telling these guys, hell, sky's the limit for us. We're at home. You know, we've beaten all these teams. There's not one goddamn team we're going to play that we haven't beaten. We can go to the dance. You know, this is the story I would be telling these kids. So, UNLV, and then we'll take our boys. We'll take Ohio State. Oh, Ohio State season was we were super hot. We couldn't beat anybody. And now we're coming back up again. And right now, I think we're on a 3-game winning streak. I think largely because most of our games have been at home recently. It's amazing how that works in the Big Ten. I haven't quite quantified that yet, why it's so fucking hard to win on the road in the Big Ten, but it is. So we're at home. Illinois is our opponent. I'm not sold on Illinois. They've beaten us a couple times this year, and it's been annoying. But then again, who the hell hasn't beaten us? So, games in Columbus, they beat us last time this game was in Columbus. So I'm kind of hoping that everybody remembers that from last year, and we're not going to just like take the night off, that we're going to show up. I think we're at the point in the season where there won't be any more giveaway games, if you will. We're going to be playing as hard as we can, trying to sharpen our edge as we get into the big dance. Because we're definitely going to be in the big dance, and I don't think that Holtman, the coach, is going to err on the side of rest. In other words, well, we had a down game, we just needed to kind of take a breather. I think he's going to push these guys hard to be playing with a super edge as we head into the Big Ten tourney. So we like Ohio State. So those are our games if we get these 3 with numbers on them. If we don't, well, this is all an academic exercise anyway, so we'll just see what happens. But Winthrop -12, Gardner-Webb -5, Illinois, Chicago at home -5, UNLV -2.5, Ohio State -6.5. Really, this might be the first time all year that I've had all favorites and the home teams have outnumbered the road teams. So I don't know what that says. In fact, I don't have one road team up there. These are on a neutral court. So maybe it's time to win. Maybe it's time to win. I don't know. I mean, if it was as easy as just picking home teams, I guess I could just do that. But I think that would work about as well as me just picking all road teams. So, I don't know. At any rate, baseball season's around the corner. We're looking forward to that. Hopefully there'll be fans in the stands. I noted that Italy has decided they're going to play a month with no fans. Oh, and by the way, they have now canceled college basketball games. Did I say they were going to cancel stuff? If I didn't, I should have, because they are. It's just a question of when, where, and how big is the event going to be. Chicago State and Kansas City, both teams out of the whack, are refusing to fly into Seattle. So those games are gone, canceled. They were going to both play this weekend. Those games are done. For all you whack bettors, sorry about your luck. Blame the virus. Blame the Chinese. Well, who knows if it's the Chinese fault? There's so many rumors floating around that nobody knows whose fault it is. Nobody's fault. Everybody's fault. I don't know. All right. Next video will probably be, probably Friday. That seems to be the schedule. We'll probably get something for you sometime Friday. Get you some games for the weekend. It's not going to be any kind of blowout deal like it was last weekend. It's just going to be a handful of games. That's all I see. I've noted that to freeform these handicapping picks takes so much longer than just letting the computer throw a name at you. Oh, okay, a name. Here's the other name. Here's another name. You know, that goes so much faster. It's all wrong, but, you know, it's, so trying to actually get the correct answer, it's taken a long time. I don't have an answer for that at the moment. Somehow we have to find a mix between getting the correct answer and not taking all day to do it, so we can get a number of correct answers. Maybe not 93 of them, but more than 6. We'll have to work on it. Hey, Rome wasn't built in a day. I keep saying that. All right, very good. Eric Arnold out. Good night. Good gambling.